Okay, let's say that you just took a great listing. Let's also say that the buyer agent compensation never came up in the conversation, the listing appointment, because nothing in the listing agreement asks anything about it anymore. Then your first solid offer arrives, and the buyer is asking for a seller concession to cover the buyer's agent. Your seller balks, saying, "We read about the settlement. We're not paying that. It's their problem now." Okay. Now you're having the commission conversation mid-negotiation with a real offer on the line. If you have a seller that says they won't pay the buyer agent commission, this video gives you the data that changes their mind and the exact sequence for having this conversation at the listing appointment before an offer forces it. So let's get to it. What changed and what didn't? Before you can correct a seller's expectation that they not pay the buyer's agent, you need to be precise about what the settlement actually did, because a lot of confusion came from the headlines, not the actual rules. When the NAR settlement took effect in August 2024, the headlines made it sound simple. Sellers are off the hook and buyers pay their own agents now. Here's what actually changed. Buyer agent compensation can't be advertised on the MLS anymore. Changed. Buyers sign written representation agreements before touring homes. Changed. Compensation gets negotiated deal by deal instead of being set up front. And here's what happens. Buyers' agents need to be paid. Buyers can still ask the seller to cover the cost as a concession. And in this market, they usually do. Sellers can still offer to pay. It just isn't the default expectation anymore. So does a seller still have to pay the buyer's agent? No. But the better question is, what happens to their sale when they refuse? Because here's the data point the headlines never predicted. Buyer agent commissions didn't fall after the settlement. Industry surveys put the buyer's side around 2.5 to 2.8%, and the trend since settlement has been flat to up, not down. In a market with more than 40% more sellers than buyers, sellers are covering the buyer's agent on purpose because it attracts buyers who need that help. In fact, offering to pay the buyer's agent keeps showing up as the top seller incentive. The real estate field figured this out, but most sellers were never told. Oh, by the way, I'm Karrie Hill, lawyer-turned-realtor and co-founder of Smart Agent Alliance, an eXp Realty sponsor team. Our agents get personal support and our agent portal with everything they need to onboard quickly, get more real estate deals, and build a future income stream. And because we're part of the Wolfpack, our agents get weekly masterminds, modern trading, and one of the strongest support communities at eXp, all at no cost to our agents. Now, let's turn those numbers into a conversation your seller can actually follow. The math that reframes it. Sellers don't change their minds because you quote a rule. They change their minds when they see the dollars go up on their own sale. Most sellers frame the buyer agent compensation as savings, a savings decision. They think if I don't pay the buyer's agent, I keep that money. You need to reframe it as a money-making decision. With a concrete example, take a $500 home. When a seller declines to offer buyer agent compensation, that answer travels. Buyer's agents now then ask about it before they ever even show the house. So the buyers who can't pay their agent out of pocket don't even ask for a seller concession because they never even saw the house. Instead, they cross that home off their list. Most buyers, especially first-timers, are in that group. They simply can't cover their agent's fee on top of their own down payment and closing costs. And here's the part sellers miss. Even buyers who have enough cash to pay their agent would rather not spend it that way. Every dollar they don't hand to their agent is a dollar that can go towards their down payment instead. which shrinks the loan they take out and the interest that they will be paying on for years. So paying their own agent isn't just hard for most buyers. It's a bad use of money, and the stronger buyers know it. Bottom line, a seller who won't pay loses the buyers who can't afford the fee or don't want to, and the buyers who understand their money is better spent taking out a smaller mortgage. That could leave the seller with a smaller buyer pool and lower offers because the buyers who remain usually subtract that fee from what they're willing to pay. The expectation gap. The hardest part of this conversation isn't the math. It's that your seller walked in already sure they know the answer. Sellers today often expect what the headlines implied. The buyer handles their own agent. But the headlines got them arguing about the wrong question. Who pays the buyer agent was never the point. The only number that matters is what the seller nets. So don't argue with the headline. Move the seller to the net. Say something like, the headlines made it sound like the settlement changed who pays. But who pays isn't really the question. It's what you walk away with. A higher offer where you cover the buyer's agent can net you more than a lower offer where you don't pay the buyer's agent. So we're not going to judge offers by who pays what. We really want to judge every offer by your net, line by line. That way, when an offer comes in asking for a concession, we're not making a big decision under pressure. We're just running the numbers. That one conversation shift from who pays to what the seller nets takes the emotion out of the concession question, and it sets up exactly how you want to run the appointment. By the way, if you're finding this information useful at all, please subscribe because it motivates us to keep providing it. The listing appointment sequence. Okay, once you're in the appointment, the order you present this matters almost as much as the content. Step 1, state the changed rules, brief and accurately, with no editorializing. Step 2, show your market data. What share of listings in their price range offer concessions and the typical amount? Step 3, model both scenarios on the net sheet. One where they offer buyer's compensation, one where they don't. Show how the one with the buyer's agent compensation could net the seller more money. Sellers can argue with a headline. They rarely argue with their own net sheet, especially when it's higher. Step 4, land on the plan. Stay open to concession requests and judge every offer by what it nets. That's all there is to it. Sellers can argue with a headline, but the dollars that flow into their bank account, well, those are a lot more important. Hey, if you're even slightly interested about eXp, the fastest, clearest breakdown is in our 18-minute inside look. The link is in the description along with our contact information if you want to strategize about what your business would look like at eXp. And if your next challenge is setting up a price reduction before you list or answering sellers who ask about pre-market listings, both of those videos should be up about now. Thank you for watching and have a great day.